Fantastic movie. So now we're ready to do the conversation, and I'm just going to introduce our speakers. So Sarah-Tai Black is an arts curator, film programmer, and critic living in Treaty 13 territory, or Toronto, whose work aims to center embodied Black, queer, trans, and crip futures. They regularly contribute criticism to the Los Angeles Times, the Globe and Mail, and CBC Arts, and work as manager of programming at Regent Park Film Festival. And born in New Brunswick to Haitian parents, Henri Pardo is the writer and director of Kanaval. Kanaval won the Air Canada Audience Award at the 2023 Cinemania Film Festival. Kanaval also won the 2023 Amplify Voices Award for Best BIPOC Canadian Feature and an honorable mention for Best Canadian Film at the 2023 Toronto International Film Festival. Henri is co-producer, director, and co-writer of Afro Canada, a documentary series on the history of Afro-Canadians, nominated for the 2023 Gémeaux. In 2020 and 2021, he filmed the feature documentary Dear Jackie in partnership with CBC. In 2019, Henri produced and directed his first documentary series entitled Black Wealth Matters. He also directed the documentary Afro Prospérité, broadcasted on IC Télé and Tout TV, produced by Black Wealth Media, a production company he founded in 2016. Henri is a graduate of the National Institute of Image and Sound and is a founding member of Black on Black Films. Let's welcome our speakers.
Hello. Hello. Thank you.
And hello.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please, another round of applause for Henri and his amazing film. Truly, what an achievement. The exact kind of Canadian filmmaking I wish we get funded all the time. Congratulations. You're, of course, the writer and director. Can you walk us through the process of making the film? I know there's, it's not an autobiographical film, but there's, of course, a lot of autobiographical elements, as there always is in art, taken from your life, your family's displacement by the Duvalier dictatorship, of course. So,
well, the first thing was to write the film, and that was a lot of pleasure, for me. It was basically, and the entire production also, spending so much time in my parents' Haiti, which was amazing. As you know, Haiti has gone through so many incredible things that has changed a lot. So to be able to dive in there for many years in that history was really amazing. So a lot of going back where I was born, trying to reconnect with old friends, just sort of remember, but falsely remember. I really wanted to write with this notion that I don't remember exactly what happened. Just to remember my childhood and try to figure and fantasize on what happened or what could have happened or stuff like that. So a lot of bits and pieces that were a challenge to put together because it still has to make sense to you and to me. Yeah.
I love how so much of Black Canadian filmmaking, Afro-Canadian filmmaking in the past 10, 20 years has involved this return home and this return to the kind of original home place and community. A huge part of the film, of course, is this ever-present Haitian spirituality, cosmologies, not just past, but present and future. And I'm wondering how this knowledge kind of came to shape the film. formally and structurally for you?
I don't know. I'm still looking for that answer. I have a feeling that, as an artist, anyways, in the démarche, in the journey that we place ourselves on, there's always this desire to understand who you are. Always coming back on what happened exactly. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
How did Haitian spirituality shape the structure of the film and the form?
And doing that, it's sort of like Haitian culture just jumped out of the page, just jumped at me and said, I'm here, I've always been here, and this is how I like to be talked about. And we went at it, and spirituality is really there. And I think spirituality is there because Haitians are so knowledgeable regarding their history. They're so knowledgeable regarding their culture, what's going on the planet. You know, we talk a lot about Haiti, but they know exactly what's going on with Haiti. They know exactly what's going on in the world. So spirituality sort of like weaves its way through the history. Jalon is a step. So it just fits in, and it's great. It's a great writing tool. It really allows me to, excuse my language, but fuck reality, just play around with it. Magical realism, or le réalisme merveilleux, really allows me to do that, because spirituality is really very present in Haitian culture. And all of them also. I was there at one point to do some research, and one morning I got up, it was actually Sunday, and the sun was just peaking, just getting up there, and there were 5 people on this rock praying. There was a Jew, Muslim, everybody was there. Somebody was just praying to the sun. Everybody was there. Haiti is so spiritual. It's quite amazing. And so it put me back to my place, because spirituality here is either white or black, you're right or you're wrong, or you vote yes or no, type of thing. And if you don't vote right, you go to purgatory. It doesn't work like that down south. You're not judged the same way. You're accompanied by your ancestors.
Yeah, and I think like that is always the most politically potent form of magic realism when it's tied to a historical specificity, a political specificity. And I think it worked really well with, how you're showing us the urgency of this displacement, but then you're also, as you said, you're pushing back against these like Western conceptions of space and time in a really lovely way. Wasn't a question, just a comment, just a fan calling in. Stylistically speaking, the film feels so vibrant and so textured as Haiti is. What were some of the influences and thinking behind the visual world of the film?
The first thing was to be close to Rico, played by Ryan. Really to be at his eye level, at his understanding, his sensitivity also to everything that was going on. From there, once you get into a mind's child, and that mind is so beautiful and strong. I'm talking about the actor. He really not only played along, but he really jumped into the role. Everything becomes truthful when you're in a kid's eye, when you're looking at things like a kid. They become truthful, poetic. You see symbols everywhere because nobody talks to you, so you have to interpret what the hell is going on and to find meaning in everything. So once again, the spirituality really came in there. And my producer told me this thing at one point, which is really beautiful, but when you receive this, you're like, what am I gonna do with that? He told me, you have to figure out a way to shoot the invisible. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I know, but how do you do that? And I think our key, me and Glauco, the DOP, the director of photography, was to listen, to listen to every little sound that was made on set or by this kid, to be able to really listen, and all of a sudden we saw like another world. Anyways, that was our thing. It was really fun.
No, I think it's so impactful the way that you've witnessed this displacement and this political history through the eyes of Rico, through the eyes of a child, because, you know, the way that we figure out the world around us through displacement, especially displacement into whiteness and white supremacy culture, is so different when you're a kid. It's so internal. You don't have the vocabulary, but you're seeing the patterns, you're kind of putting it together. And I love his character as this kind of observer between and across lands. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think kids are wonderful because they hear words, but they also hear what's behind the words. The name that they give him, I was given that name, and I didn't know what the N word was when I was that age. I was born in New Brunswick, and as I was told, as it was explained, in a very small town like that, and I was called Black and N. As a, you know, as a joke, and I didn't understand what it meant, but you sort of do. You do understand. Kids understand everything. It's quite amazing, and so did Ryan.
Yeah, he is from Haiti as well. Like recent transplant to Montreal when you started making the film together.
Yeah, when we met him, it had been 3 years that he was in Montreal. He went through the Chemin Roxham. He had a long journey before he got here. He did 7 countries, traveled every border on foot at night in the jungle, avoiding militias, avoiding bad people, animals, the whole thing. So I sort of laugh or chuckle about it because the guy that we got, I thought it was just meeting a kid, but he had a lot of this life experience. And a lot of, you know, displaced people have that feeling also. That's what the film is about. It's about displacement and how do you cope with it.
Yeah, there's the figure of Kana. I would like to talk about that a bit with you. It feels so crucial to his character Rico's world building and coming to this understanding of what care looks like in this space and place and what it doesn't look like, what the politics of that are, even within like a child's understanding of that. Kind of feels like this manifestation, of course, of Rico's fears and anxieties, but he also feels like this incarnation or this ancestral guide kind of sent from those first moments of revolution. I'm wondering if you could talk a bit about Kana.
Yeah, Kana is really a beautiful reflection of the Haitian struggle, the revolution, its independence, and its, I don't know if it's the right word, I'm francophone, hubris. Hubris means lubrique, or what does hubris mean?
Mm-mm.
What?
Pride.
Pride, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Do you like how I nodded yes because I heard hubris in the French?
Yeah. um, Kana, yes, he has pride, but okay, the character was constructed for the carnivals. So carnivals were moments where Africans, slaves at the time, could actually have one day off and celebrate. It was imported by Europeans because there was, you know, Venetian carnivals everywhere in Europe, and it came here. So it was a moment where they could celebrate, right? And they allowed themselves to do whatever they wanted. One of those characters was un lanceur de corde, a rope thrower. So bounded around his wrists were ropes, which symbolized chains that were ripped apart, and they put black paint on them to be even more black than an African, the blackest, darkest that there could be, to scare away those colonizers during the carnival. And they went on and became this beautiful character. And after that ceremonial carnival was done, they would go to the sea and let all the soot and all the just wash away, and the character also with them. It's a character that symbolizes independence, Africans that are freeing themselves, independent of spirit. So Kana was amazing to have as a best friend for Rico. Now the thing is he a spirit? Is he his subconscious, or just, in my mind, he's really there, but that's up to you to decide. Kana is a real person who's there when you really need him, and that's a loi for you. A loi, our spirits, are there not to judge us, but just to spend some time with us and to sort of like shoot the shit and see how they could help out or not. It's a very casual relationship. You know, like God here is like so omnipresent and hell, and it's like huge. We just chill and talk and spend time with our ancestors. They're weird too, but there's sort of like this respect about to each his own, as long as there's respect. That's my interpretation of it, anyways. The way I constructed the story is that a child has his culture inside him, right? And Haitian culture is quite amazing, and it's quite formidable also. It dares to live out loud. So during the carnival, during the whole year, culture is everywhere. It's not in a small box that we call TV. That's why I had those scenes with him where that's the only place where culture is in North America or in Western world sometimes. And I think that he left Haiti with what he knew. He left Haiti with the carnival, with his characters. He was supposed to dress up as a lanceur de corde to go to carnival and be a kid, and all of a sudden he has to be an adult in displacement. So he hangs on to what he has, and he'll materialize it as long as he really needs it. And it could get him in trouble. I mean, he does pull out a gun at the end.
An aspect of your film that I really enjoyed, as a person who is not Haitian, as I'm sure you can tell from my je ne parle pas français, but you know.
The mask gave it away.
And but you know, my ancestry is Brazilian. We have a parallel history, but different. But you know, cousins. And I'm wondering if you could speak a bit about legibility on screen and cultural legibility and making a film for Haitian audiences.
It's very selfish.
I love it.
It's very like, I want to give this to the people that got me here. My mom, my dad, my sister, my brothers, everybody. I want to give it back to them. And I want, like, I was writing these things, I was like, they're the only ones that will understand, and that's okay. You know, it's my job to make it a good story so all of you can understand, but I really want my mom to say, yeah, I get it. I come from there. That's my livelihood. It's my life. It's my beauty and everything. So it was really a pleasure to write for Haitians.
Also,
and to work with Haitians also.
Yes.
We shot in Dominican Republic, and I don't know if you guys are aware, but when we wanted to shoot in Jacmel in Haiti, but the insurance company didn't want to follow us, so we couldn't go. And I really wanted to work with Haitians, so it was either Cuba or Dominican Republic, and there are a lot of political slave-related problems with the relationship between those two countries, between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And I didn't want to, you know, I'll say it. It's as if I was doing a film about Palestinians in Israel. It just doesn't work out that way, you know. I just couldn't, right? So we had to do things properly. I wanted to work with Haitians, so we found 200 Haitian actors. So all the people in the carnival, they're Haitians. Most of them are without papers. They do not have a country. They're not Haitians. They're not anything. It's very problematic. So the deal was, and I was working with the Dominicans that were mostly white. This is your chance to give back to Haiti, participate in their culture, respect the actors that are on set. Let's pay them adequately, and let's have fun, and let's work together to do this story. And everyone went, yeah, let's do this. So that's why art is so amazing. It brings us together. So we did this film with Haitian actors, and it was really thrilling for them. And for us also, to have a proper carnival.
That's amazing. And also, if any of you who are not familiar with the relationship between Haiti and Dominican Republic, there is a Canadian documentary called Stateless that you could watch by, the director's name is Fleeting My Brain. Do you know Henri?
No, I don't.
Michelle.
I don't.
Apologies to her, I have a horrible memory, but not a horrible memory for a good movie, so seek it out.
Yes.
The character of Urzuli, I love to watch her kind of unfold on the screen and kind of get to know all her complicated bits. I think we're very used to seeing a very specific image of Haitian motherhood, and if not Haitian, then broadly Caribbean motherhood on screen. And I think she works against that on-screen history in a really refreshing way. You know, especially when you think about how the film brings forth this idea of poteau mettant, you know, and I'm wondering if you could talk a bit about how you shaped and complicated her character.
Well, I got a mom. It's
At the end of the day, we're all working out our mother issues on screen.
yeah, but it's beautiful mother issues. I'm very like all these men that write films and write characters for women. They really must hate women because they're raised by one, and she's everything. She shows them everything, and that's the way I was raised, and that's the way I try to write this character. It was very frustrating because I find that it's a silent character. Everything is from the point of view of her child, so there is no explanation. She's left on her own, and I did this on purpose. And it was really hard for Penande, who played the character, because there weren't that many words, so we'd have to work on silences and stuff like that. A poteau mitant is a pillar, and it's really the symbol of our society. A poteau mitant stands right in the middle of the lacou. A lacou is all these houses, of the community in a circle around the poteau mitant, around the pillar, represented by a woman that keeps everything together, not tightly bound, but just linked. That's our poteau mitant. That's the women of our culture. So Urzuli, which is also a goddess or a spirit, which represents independence and fighting the man to give back the wealth to the people and to the kids. All these women are amazing. So I just, I want to do more. I want to write other characters like Urzuli for actresses like Penande that will go against the grain. It's worth it.
And I have one more question before we start a Q&A. So start thinking, put your thinking caps on. Just to kind of go back to, your ability to recreate Kanaval in DR, and the sound of Kanaval it's something else, and the way that it is materialized in the film is so lush, is so lovely, is so textured, and it feels so tethered to all the kind of cosmologies of Kanaval, all the ancestral work that you're doing in the film. And I'm wondering if you could just talk to us a bit about sound and what your intentions were behind.
Yeah, sound was another writing. So there was writing itself of the script, and then being in production, which with the actors and your crew, you're rewriting everything. I was telling them, let's forget about the script. Let's just make it better, better, better. Let's work together. And then the editing, and then the sound. And I didn't know that with the sound I could continue writing my story and adding these nuances and these layers of cosmology, of the spirit world, but of truth also. Like, how do you listen? How do you make your character listen to something that is not intended for him and all that? So there was a lot of beautiful work with sound. I'm very happy.
Just beautiful to listen to, never mind to watch. So, audience Q&A time. We have 2 microphones that I think this lovely person, 2 lovely people on each side of the row here will find you if you have your hand up. Red hat in the front here has a question. And I'm sorry, I'm going to call you all by what you're wearing.
Such a beautiful film. Oh my gosh. I'm wondering about your editorial process and how you structured your film in the edit, knowing that you were jumping between past, present, and spirit world. Was that something you wrote chronologically, or did you have to move things around a little bit while you were editing the film?
I'd say like most of it was written that way, except the Carnival. The Carnival, we had to shuffle things around because it was too linear. It didn't reflect the culture. It didn't respect the. C'est le bordel, comme on dit en français. It's a mess. It's a beautiful. Haiti is a beautiful cultural mess. You know, not like mess, end of the world. There's something happening everywhere, and it's out of order, and it makes so much sense this way. And then you put it back in order, and it makes, again, a lot of sense. So the Carnival needed to be shuffled around. So that was in the editing suite that we discovered that. And it was fun to eliminate a lot of things that I wrote also that weren't necessary anymore. Certain dialogue was like, nah, no, let them figure that out. Give them the ... and they'll figure something out, you know? And not us. Let them figure out the story. So yeah, a few moments like that. Yeah, and the multi-layering also was very, like I was always pushing my Luxembourg editor, who's really far away from Haiti, but I was always like, no, there's something extra that is missing that we had to add, and he really understood it.
We have an orange vest.
Thanks. I think you just answered one of my small inconsequential questions there. What was the connection with Luxembourg? But I get it. You had a member of the crew there. But I also wanted to say, or ask or discuss the interweaving of the Haitian Carnival chaos with the Quebecois rural chaos. And it kind of worked for me because, you know, I'm from Northern Ontario, and like shooting a moose out of season, that like totally resonates with me, and going stealing something off of a railway car. That I thought they came together quite beautifully. Where did all that come from?
Experience. I wasn't the stealer, I wasn't the crook, but I did assist to things like that, where in my case in New Brunswick, but in the film's case in Canada, things are wild in rural Canada. They're, you know, people do things their own way. And I found it very interesting to juxtapose both cultures. That we view Haiti as being very messy and disorganized and uncivilized, but you'd say these things to Haitians and they go, what? They did what? When? How? You know, we don't hunt. We don't have that philosophy of just for the pleasure of finding something and killing it. we don't have that. So it's very intriguing. We've read about it so many times, for sure. But to juxtapose both cultures was very, very interesting. And sometimes you see that both cultures celebrate stuff for different reasons. Like we have the carnival, they have their fête foraine, their village, you know, end of the season. What's the word? Harvest.
Equinox.
Yeah, harvest. The corn and the and all that, right?
Like reaching for like, what are the whites doing? Thanksgiving.
True that. And they're sort of similar, but they torture themselves for different reasons. You know, like back home, it's a question of always this comment on the authority, on the colonizer, on the dictators, to really bring him down during the carnival. And here you sort of like, you lynch somebody because you're like, congrats, you're getting married. So it's odd. So I'd like to compare both, yeah.
We have a question right in the middle here. This turquoise beret, very lovely beret.
Is this on? Okay. Sorry, we both had questions at the same time. I was wondering if you could speak to your decision to have that like moment between Ezurli and the, like, I'm forgetting the name of like the mother figure that stands in, and kind of how they kind of explored their maternal grief and like why you chose to share that moment or like add that moment into the film, given that the wife like served as like a stand-in mother figure, I guess.
I wanted to give them a bit more. I'm trying to, and this is not an excuse, I'm still learning. This is my first, and I'm trying to be a better partner and write scenes for women that are just interesting and fun to watch. And that one was one of them, you know, like I was really happy to build that for these actresses. It was a short one. The outtakes are amazing because they're just all over the place. They just really they're really into the scene. I think it's really important for the film to have that vision. And I painted myself in a corner also. All this thing about you're only gonna see what the child sees is doesn't help you guys because what happens when he's not there. So I had to put him once in a while where he was spying on them, and particularly on women. Like, how does a young boy look at women? You know, like what's his needs and how is he impressed by their attitude? So that scene was really amazing to write, and also to come back on her trauma. We haven't come back on her trauma. The only way we come back on that horrible scene is through Rico's like angst regarding it. But what about them? How do they feel from the inside? That's the only snippet where I could go. I don't know if that answers your question.
And we'll go to beret again.
Is it working?
Yep.
Great. I just had a question about your trajectory as a director. Of course, I know that you have a background in documentary with Dear Jackie and, of course, the short films. And I wanted to know how you made that transition to this beautiful fictional feature in our Canadian landscape when our industry is just being cut all over the place, and how you managed to get that together to make this big success.
I think because I decided to quit, something like that, or to give up, because I wanted to give up because I was tired as an actor, first of all, to be able to always be playing these flimsy role the boyfriend or the dancer or the, you know, I gotta say I was a bit lucky. I didn't play any, you know, gangsta, whatever, crook or rapist or.
I remember you in the movie Taking Lives.
Didn't I play a cop?
You did.
Okay, so I played a cop. But my roles were really flimsy, and after a while, when you've done a theater school and all that, and you're ready to do Shakespeare, and they give you just the boyfriend, you're like, okay, what else, you know? And you go back home, and your mom is like, when are they gonna see my son? You know, she wasn't mad at me, she was mad at them. So you start writing things for yourself, for your friends, and that's how it started. And as an actor, your main tool is yourself, is your experience, your imagination, your intelligence, everything that you are. And the white industry was not seeing me, so I couldn't be who I was. So as an actor, as a writer, I was like free. And I decided just to say, okay, this is my last thing I'm gonna do. I'll write my heart out, and it'll be just for me, and after that, I'll be done, and I'll move on. And it seems that the more I'm myself, the more I can not only survive, but thrive as an artist. I think that's sort of my key anyways.
Thank you.
And you and your producing partner, you were the first Black filmmaking project under the CMF, Canada Media Fund banner.
Yes.
And that's quite tragic. To be the first is
Yes,
never a celebration
yeah,
as it sounds.
Yeah, but what's beautiful right now in Montreal and in Toronto also, there's this beautiful wave of Black filmmakers that's happening. And they're so smart, they're so ready for action, and they're changing the narratives. It's really impressive. So yeah, there are a lot of people that are coming and they're running.
We have a question here in the front, and then we'll go to the gentleman in the back. Oh, no, mic's coming.
And so everybody can hear you.
I know. Oh, okay. Hey. Oh, God, way too loud. So we saw at the very beginning, coming back to the characters, that Ursula is a very strong character, but the great betrayal, I think, for a lot of people here that are BIPOC is that she leaves, and mothers don't really leave their children in the BIPOC community. It's a really big scandal when that happens. So how did you reconcile that from the three perspectives, both hers, her arc, from when she leaves to when she comes back, his arc, and then of course your perspective using Rico as like a vector for that in your own life?
I was raised, okay, this is how I'm gonna answer this. I think, yeah, it takes a village. It really takes a village, and in Haitian community, it's the same thing. In the la cour, in the round, where the houses are built, the community is built, the poteau mitan, everybody is part of the family, and the family's huge. You know, we got cousins, man. Like, it's not possible, and everybody will participate and bring that child, you know, up. And sometimes you gotta send your child away. And let me jump right into a dictatorship. Sometimes you don't need to explain, he just needs to go to the countryside so he's safe and somebody will take care of him for a few months. Or I'm gonna send him to school over there, to France so he can study and then he'll come back. It's always been that way, right? To take care of your kids. So Erzulie had to send him away. She, at the beginning of the film, she gets caught. She's the sort of militant or activist that is okay to be caught because she's sick and tired of running and she wants the truth to come out. Unfortunately, she had to go to jail and be tortured. That's another side story. But we give our kids away because we trust people. So she's ready to give her kid away to her brother. So he's gone for a month, but it could have been 2 years. in my case, my parents left Haiti and my brother and sister stayed back for 2 years before they came and met them in Chicago and then in New Brunswick. So that happens also. And at the end, she's got to find work also. So you have to put your kids to somebody and go work somewhere else. So displacement is also displacement of families or separation of families. And sometimes you got to leave your kids to take care of them. It's something that we really can't consider right now, but it's done through wartime and all that.
And we have the gentleman in the back here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, brother, for this wonderful film. Congratulations. I mean, as a black man, I just wanted to speak and say congratulations for making this film. I'll share this comment. I'm reading now C.L.R. James, The Black Jacobins. Yes. And this is my second reading. And I try to kind of read it as a preparation for viewing the film as well. So I've been kind of reading on it. And what I just realized is that C.L.R. James, of course, is a Trinidadian, right, not a Haitian. But he also wrote the book about the Haitian Revolution without witnessing it, right? So he had to dig on archives and things like that. So there is a notion of creation or curation of the writing with memory, with history. And I wonder to how much this sort of process that I just explained was present in your consciousness. Were you aware of that? For me now, I understand it in a new way, but I think your film gave me a way to understand this process of writing in between history and memory and all of that. So I congratulate you on that, and whatever you can say to that, I appreciate it. My question is about the poster. Of course, the yellow is very significant in voodoo, so I understand that. Why did you decide on the poster to have a face on top of Rico's face?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to answer everything because it's really interesting. Thanks for your presence, by the way, brother. I really appreciate it. And regarding the poster, I'll get that right away. This was proposed to me. I didn't ask for this at all. And I had a problem with it because my actor was blocked. And I was like, it's good, but I mean, doesn't work. He's the star of my show and all that. But after a while, it became really interesting for me because it was protecting my actor, who was 10 at the time. And I was imagining the poster everywhere in the city, and I was like, do I need Ryan's face to be everywhere in the city at that age? Because as we're doing the film, we had a promise with the parents is that we weren't going to change his life that much. You know, we didn't want to just take him out and completely change his life, basically. We wanted to keep that, that link with his childhood. So that was sort of a protection. After that, I said, okay, forget about your actor, just think of the film, you know? And I find it perfect to have this symbol of mask. And there's a sort of like clin d'oeil to Fanon also, about the mask that you wear. Fanon is more about the white mask, and we're behind this mask. So inside every black man, you know, there's always this shade or protection, or we're code switching or whatever, trying to protect ourselves. While this, it's different. It's a question of, it's not code switching. It's really, Africa is right there. You know, our celebration is there. Our bond is really in the mask. So that's for the mask. The other stuff was about
C.L.R. James.
C.L.R. James. That's incredible, because my next film, C.L.R. James, is in that film. And I do talk about the Black Jacobins. CLR James is an amazing and very important Pan-African thinker and intellectual. And he wrote this wonderful book about the revolution and how he places it within the realm of the superpowers and stuff like that. So it's very, very well thought out, very well written. I found that I hear what you say about being from the outside and looking in. I found myself like that as a Haitian child born in the diaspora, so outside of the island. I find myself looking in, and I did have for a while imposter syndrome. Was I Haitian enough? I had those questions, but I was. I had to go get that child, and of course that helps just to, you know, barricade myself within a child and be able to write this story. But I remembered all these little things about the culture, and it was still there, it was still fresh. So I wasn't that outside as I thought. I was more on the inside. So like CLR James, sometimes when you're out of love as a brother or sister, we can look into another culture. We have so much respect for it. I think we will do the right thing, and it's not as if somebody was doing something on our culture like Steven Spielberg with Amistad, which is a good film, great director. I'm not going to criticize him, but it's still on the outside looking in. That's what we try to avoid more and more.
I think that is the last question we have time for. Thank you. Thank you, Henri. Thank you for your work. Thank you, all of you, for your lovely, lovely, thoughtful questions.